The AK-205 is not overpowered, but is one of the most precise weapons in the game, and it has its cons. And in today's video, we are going to talk about everything that matters for this weapon, including stats, information, tests, and of course, builds. So sit back, relax, and let's dive in. The AK-205 has 20 damage, which is the lowest of all carbines, a 720 rate of fire, and a 737 base muzzle velocity. Other basic stats are pretty common for a carbine. It has a 30 bullet mag, a 200 ADS transfer speed, a standard headshot multiplier, and an approximately 2.5 second reload time. And yeah, for its precision and recoil control we play with damage, which does not sound that great. But it's not a reason to throw this weapon away, as it's not that simple. Let's dive deeper into damage zones. The AK-205 has 5 damage zones. The first zone is up to 9.5 meters, the next is 9.5 to 21 meters, then 21 to 36, 36 to 75, and the fifth zone past that. To the body, we deal 20, 17.7, 15, 14.3 and 12.5 damage at the respective ranges. For a headshot, we have 26.8, 23.7, 20.1, 19.2 and 16.8 damage. If you use hollow point ammo, we have 30, 26.6, 22.5, 21.5 and 18.8 damage. And last but not least, if we use synthetic ammo, we deal 35, 31, 26.3, 25 and 21.9 damage to the head. That is a lot of numbers, and of course there's more. Let's move to STK and TTK parameters. To the body we need 5 shots in the first, 6 shots in the second, 7 shots in the third and fourth, and 8 shots in the fifth zone to kill our target. For a headshot we need 4 in the first, 5 in the second and third, and 6 in the fourth and fifth zones to kill. If you use hollow point ammo, we need 4 shots to kill in the first and second zones, 5 shots to kill in the third and fourth zones, and 6 shots past that. But of course we are not interested in that, as we have synthetic ammo, and we need 3 shots in the first, 4 shots in the second to fourth zones, and 5 shots to kill past that. I personally believe that you don't need to use hollow point ammo here at all, but synthetic ammo can be viable for specific situations and playstyles, as we have more than enough precision on this weapon and everything is gated only by a player skill. Talking about time to kill parameters for multiplayer, it takes a third of a second to kill your target in the first range zone, but it will take more than half of a second when you fight at 21 plus meters range, which is actually bad compared to something like M277 with its 285 milliseconds at the same range. Here is the comparison of all carbines sorted by time to kill parameter in the first and second zones. As you can see, the AK-205 is in the last spot here. This weapon has the worst time to kill and shot to kill parameters of all carbines, and that leads us to the question: how can we make this weapon to compete with others, and can it compete at all? Let's find out. Now let's quickly talk about RedSec. Long story short, this weapon is not viable for it, due to shots to kill and time to kill parameters skyrocket into another universe. It just takes too many shots and too much time to be even close to being viable. This weapon will actually put you at a disadvantage, as we need to land 14 bullets, and it will take more than 1.1 second at a 22 meters range. And that is compared to 8 bullets and 0.62 seconds of the M277, or 10 bullets and 0.77 seconds of the M4A1. The AK-205 is not viable for RedSec. Period. Alright, that was a lot of info, and now we know that the AK-205 is pretty mediocre with its basic stats, STK and TTK parameters compared to other carbines. Additionally, even using synthetic ammo, we need 3 headshots to kill an enemy in the first zone, while the SG503R, for example, needs 3 shots to the body. It's very hard to compete with these monsters. And to make it work, we need to get the most from attachments and playstyle. So now it's the time for our side-by-side attachment testing, starting with brakes. The AK-205 is not a recoil-heavy weapon. More than that, the recoil is almost non-existent here. As always, the first one is without muzzle at all, and I don't see any real reasoning to use any of the brakes, as this weapon has very easy recoil control right from the start. And we should not forget that every attachment shown here will make us 3D and minimap spotted. Brakes are just straight up bad for AK-205, you can simply forget about them. Now let's move to suppressors. And again, it's very simple. We don't need any additional recoil control, so basically we can pick a flash hider to negate 3D spotting and for its cost efficiency, a standard suppressor to get all the benefits at the cost of hip fire accuracy, or a CQB suppressor, as it will give us no downgrade at all. These are the only choices worth considering for the muzzle section. Pick a flash hider if you don't have spare points, a standard suppressor for balanced builds, and a CQB suppressor if you want additional hip fire accuracy. Easy as that. Alright, let's move to the underbarrel section, starting with vertical grips. For the AK-205 specifically, again, you don't need to improve recoil that much. This weapon is so accurate that I really don't recommend using something other than a low vertical grip here, as it won't give you any downgrades. Other grips are just not worth it. It's simply way better to use angled grips for additional benefits. If you want some additional recoil control, let's say for synthetic ammo headshot builds. Now for stubbies. Stubbies are not worth using at all on this weapon. Too costly, almost zero improvements in comparison with angle grips. Not much to say here. I do not recommend using them for the AK-205. Let's move to the angle grips. They are the real kings for the underbarrel section. And as this weapon has good recoil control from the start, we are testing it without an underbarrel too. As we can see, using the AK-205 without an underbarrel is actually pretty good. And that means we should use a hand stop only if we want additional ADS transfer speed and improved draw speed, or a slim angle grip for additional recoil control. A full angle grip is not worth using here. Okay, now it's time to test our underbarrel choices. I am sorry for repeating myself, but it's just the true statement for this weapon. You can easily use it without an underbarrel at all, and you should use a low vertical grip, hand stop, or slim angle grip only if you need those additional benefits, as the spray patterns are almost the same. Laser time. This one is a bit tricky. As we know, the AK-205 has very good precision and recoil control stats, so intuitively we want to use it for longer ranges. Additionally, it has pretty bad shot to kill and time to kill parameters for close quarters, and it's very hard to compete with something like the Tier 7. But this is actually a thing that we should not underestimate. The AK-205 has very good precision, and using lasers makes it very precise with hipfire too. And I mean very precise. Even at 20 meters range using a 20-point green laser, it will barely miss any shots. And these tests are made without mouse control at all. In a real game, when you are controlling your spray, it can be very devastating, and I will show you this a bit later. That was a lot of testing. And now let's move to the fun part, the builds. The AK-205 is a good weapon for medium to long range and can be viable for CQB if you are ready for it. And I'll give you two main builds that I found effective for this weapon, including a synthetic ammo build for long ranges and a close quarters build. The first build I call the Wasp. It's an intuitive default build that suits medium to long range the best. For the sight, take what you want here, but I recommend something like the X-Scope. Next, we need a flash hider, a 30-point blue laser, synthetic ammo, a 30-point fast mag, and a heavy barrel. If you want, you can switch the flash hider and the blue laser for a standard suppressor and a 20-point green or blue laser, but I recommend using it as it is. With this build, we become a strong long-range threat, and with non-existent recoil we can farm those heads easily. We take a 3x scope for easier aiming at longer range, a flash hider to negate 3D spotting, a blue laser for additional accuracy while moving, synthetic ammo to farm those heads harder, a heavy barrel for additional accuracy, and a 30-bullet fast mag for spare points. This build can be very strong depending on a player's skill and ability to aim for those heads. Talking about playstyle, this build is better suited for a second lane and more patient gameplay. This is a laser gun. Take your time and be patient, and you'll get those kills. The second build is the nail gun. This one is aimed at maximizing your hipfire accuracy, so you can win those close quarter battles. As always, for the side section, take what you want. Next we take CQB suppressor, a 20-point green laser, a flashlight, and a 36 bullet mag. Yes, it seems counterintuitive for the AK-205, as it's way harder to land 5 bullets instead of 3 with something like SG, 503R or NVO. But if we make our push and play style a bit more accurate, it can do its job. And what I mean here, you have more chances to win those fights if you shot first. As I said earlier, our goal is to make its hipfire as accurate as possible. The CQB suppressor is to negate 3D and minimap spotting without downgrade to hipfire accuracy. A flashlight with a 20-point green laser for obvious reasons. And we take 36 bullet mag to help us in intense situations. This build can be very fun and is aimed mostly at the push and play style and aggressive gameplay. It can be very effective if you use it right. And do not forget, we are playing with the AK-205, so don't be shy to use it for longer ranges too. In conclusion, the AK-205 can be a very fun and effective weapon despite the fact that it's the worst carbine by on-paper stats. And to be fair, we can build it however we want. Do you want a long-range laser gun? Here it is. Do you want a close quarter battle? It can do it too. Yes, it's not the best weapon by stats, but in the right hands it can destroy. Let me know what you think about it in the comment section, and if you have any tips, feel free to share them too. If you liked the video, press that like and subscribe buttons for future content. Thank you everyone so much for your support. It helps and matters to me a lot. Thank you for watching. See you next time. Bye bye.